What's up guys, Redwing here, and welcome to another video. In the Clone Wars Season 7, Maul tells Ahsoka about his visions of Anakin Skywalker, her former master, falling to the dark side of the Force and becoming Darth Sidious' new apprentice. Ahsoka would refuse to join Maul after hearing this, telling Maul that his vision was flawed before a battle begins. But what if, instead, Ahsoka chose to hear Maul out and joined him? Without any further ado, let's begin with today's story. Our story begins in the throne room on Mandalore as sparks rain from the shattered domes of Sundari. Explosions echo faintly through the glass and durasteel walls. Ahsoka stood in front of Maul, the rogue former Sith, who glared towards her like a predator, eyes burning with urgency, as he spoke the words, "He has long been groomed for his role as my master's new apprentice." Ahsoka's eyes narrow. In the original timeline, Ahsoka would go on to call Maul a liar and further state that his visions were flawed. But in this timeline, Ahsoka feels a flicker of uncertainty in both her very bones and in the Force itself. Maul speaks further, telling Ahsoka to search her feelings. He senses that Ahsoka has seen dark side traits inside of her master. The fear, the anger, and that those were the very things that Sidious desired most. Ahsoka's voice is quiet as she says, "He's not like you." Maul, voice intensifying, tells Ahsoka that Anakin was exactly like him. That was why Maul understood, he said. In fact, Maul was so certain of Anakin's fate that he orchestrated the Mandalorian Civil War to lure Anakin there with Obi-Wan so as to kill him, and thus depriving Sidious of his prized apprentice. She steps forward slowly, her hands gripping her lightsabers as her fingers were resting on the ignition button of each of her weapons. Ahsoka hesitated for a moment. Then Maul spoke. "Dooku was always a pawn, as was Maul," he said. "Skywalker was the prize." Maul's words hang heavy in the air as memories rise unbidden in Ahsoka's mind. More than several of her missions with Anakin, his fierce defense of Palpatine, his frustration with the Jedi Council, his recklessness, and his loneliness. If Maul was right, Ahsoka said, then they needed to act now. Maul reinforces this, saying that they needed to stop it before it began. Ahsoka hesitated, but then made her decision. She then says that if they were going to do this, then they would do this in her way. She then came up with the idea to make it look like she captured him. That would keep the clones and the council from asking too many questions. Maul gives a crooked smile, almost amused and yet taken aback by her cleverness. But then Ahsoka tells Maul to not think for a second that she trusts him. With precise force, Ahsoka would ignite her lightsabers and leap forward, slamming Maul into the throne with the Force, cracking the stone. She binds his arms in durasteel cuffs, just as clone reinforcements rush in. Ahsoka reports that Maul had put up a fight, but that he was not going anywhere right now. Maul snarls and plays along, hissing like a cornered beast. As the clones drag him away, Maul glances back. Ahsoka meets his gaze, no smile, only determination. Later on, the hum of the Mandalorian sarcophagus vibrates softly in the silence of Maul's cell on the Venator. Ahsoka stands alone before Maul's cell, asking if there was anything else that he knew. Maul telepathically says that it was only fragments, whispers in the dark. He says that Sidious's grand design was still in the works, Sidious working in the shadows, but that he knew that the Jedi's downfall was near. Ahsoka presses her lips together, staring through the force field. Somewhere out in the stars, Anakin Skywalker was descending into darkness, and she may be the only one who can stop it. Immediately after this, the holograms of Master Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi stabilize, with Yoda standing amid the roots of Kashyyyk, flanked by clone officers, whilst Obi-Wan is standing against the rocky backdrop of Utapau. Ahsoka then reveals what Maul had told her to the two masters, with Obi-Wan's reaction being to immediately feel for Anakin in the Force. Obi-Wan confirms what he feels to Yoda and Ahsoka, telling them that all he felt from Anakin was conflict, fear, and pain. Yoda tells Obi-Wan to return to Coruscant immediately, and Obi-Wan tells Yoda that he was already making preparations to leave and that he would contact Anakin on his way there. The holograms flicker and vanish. Ahsoka stands in silence, then turns and strides out. In the council chambers, Anakin Skywalker stares out over the city, hands clasped tightly behind his back. His heart pounds in his ears. Palpatine's words echo inside of his mind, and inside him, a storm is building. The Chancellor had trusted him. The Jedi had not. The one man who could save Padme from death was now in danger. However, the comm unit beeps with an incoming message. Anakin hesitates, then accepts. Obi-Wan appears on the hologram, to Anakin's shock, and tells him that he had just spoken with Ahsoka. Anakin reveals that Palpatine was the Sith Lord that they were looking for, and Obi-Wan reveals that Maul had made a similar claim to Ahsoka. Obi-Wan says that he believes that something terrible was about to happen, but he tells Anakin to not act and to trust in the Force. Anakin closes his eyes. The Force feels distant to him because all he can feel now is fear. The fear of losing his wife. Anakin asks the big what-if question. What if Master Windu kills him? What if Palpatine was their only chance to save Padme from death? Obi-Wan's expression darkens as he then asks Anakin what he was talking about. But Anakin cuts the transmission before Obi-Wan can press further. He turns, his jaw clenched. The cityscape burns gold in the Coruscant dusk. He storms out of the council chambers, headed for the Senate. Meanwhile, Maul was still in the Mandalorian sarcophagus as Ahsoka stands just outside of it. Her jaw set as she informs Maul that the Jedi were trying to get through to Anakin. Maul is consumed by fear, telepathically telling Ahsoka that she'll arrive too late to stop Sidious. Ahsoka stares at him, torn between instinct and urgency. But she tells him to wait, threatening to kill him if he is lying. She turns, issuing orders to Rex to plot a direct course for Coruscant. Something terrible was about to happen. Rex acknowledges her orders and leaves. Time was running out. In the Chancellor's office, Mace Windu, Kit Fisto, Saesee Tiin, and Aegon Kolar stand tall and silent, sabers ignited. Before them, Chancellor Palpatine remains seated as Windu announces that the Chancellor was under arrest. Palpatine rises slowly. The mask of frailty slips from his face, replaced by cold, ancient power. The conversation goes as it does in the original timeline, and without warning, Sidious strikes. With a flash of red, Palpatine ignites his lightsaber and launches into a deadly spin. Aegon Kolar and Saesee Tiin fall instantly. Kit Fisto blocks 2 strikes, then collapses as Mace then locks blades against the whirlwind of the Sith Lord. On the Venator, Ahsoka stands on the bridge as Captain Rex approaches. Rex informs Ahsoka that they had entered Coruscant space. Ahsoka orders Rex to prepare a transport, informing him that she was headed to the Senate building, and also ordering him to get the rest of the Clone Legion to the Jedi Temple. Rex hesitates, then salutes before leaving. Ahsoka also turns and disappears towards the hangar. As Rex thought to himself, his mind went back to Fives and the inhibitor chips. He would then proceed to head to the medical bay that was nearby. He was starting to feel as though Fives was right about the plot against the Jedi. The duel between Mace Windu and Darth Sidious rages across the office. Windu channels every ounce of his strength and precision, forcing Sidious back via use of the pod. And with a final strike, Windu disarms Palpatine. The Sith Lord collapses against the window ledge, lightning burned and gasping. But this was only a play as Anakin ran in just a few moments later. He rushes in, breathing hard. He sees Windu, saber pointing towards Palpatine's throat, poised for the killing blow. Palpatine lies cowering, weak, frail, but also deceiving. The conversation between Anakin and Windu goes similarly to how it does in the original timeline, and Windu tightens his grip on his weapon. Palpatine's expression shifts as he knows what is about to happen, but keeping up his lies and deception. Anakin's blade swings, and Mace Windu screams as Palpatine once again throws him out the window. Meanwhile, a sleek Republic transport weaves through the skyline. Inside, Ahsoka stares grimly ahead. The city trembles with dark energy. Suddenly, she feels it. Similarly to what she had felt in Season 7 just before Order 66 in the original timeline. Her breath catches, a shift in the Force, a wound, as she senses that Anakin was in trouble. She didn't know what had happened, only that the light in the Force was dimming. In the Chancellor's office, Anakin is named Darth Vader as the storm rages outside. Ahsoka lands silently, with clones patrolling nearby as she slips past them unnoticed. Her communicator, however, then buzzes. It was Rex, who, after having his inhibitor chip removed during the trip to Coruscant, informs Ahsoka that the 501st has been recalled to the Jedi Temple and that a new order had come directly from the Chancellor. All of Ahsoka's troops had also joined them, and suddenly weren't themselves. Ahsoka tells Rex to be careful as she looks towards the spire of the Jedi Temple. She then runs towards the temple doors, and upon getting inside, she saves Padawans and younglings, fending off the clones with ease, but still refusing to kill them. However, upon entering the temple archives, she then comes face to face with Darth Vader, blue lightsaber blazing as his hood covered his face. Ahsoka would get into a fighting stance, now realizing the horrible truth that she, the former apprentice of Anakin Skywalker himself, had been far, far too late. Meanwhile, in the Venator, Maul remains in the Mandalorian sarcophagus, but suddenly, the door opens to two clones who had secretly been ordered by Jesse to execute him. They open the sarcophagus and release Maul, firing their blasters as soon as they did so. But the blasts never hit Maul because he used the Force to deflect them and send them back towards the clones who dodged. Then, Maul would use the Force to brutally kill both clones. As this happened, red alarms began to blare as Palpatine's voice echoed across the ship, as he then issued Order 66. Maul's eyes burned, the anger inside of him burning like a fire that refused to be controlled. And as he growled, he would simply walk out, as he would then search for his lightsaber. Well, folks, that is part 1 of our story today. Do stay tuned for part 2 of our story, set to come out on Saturday here on YouTube. Before we end, I'd just like to point out that 85% of you who view my videos are not yet subscribed. It's a little better than the last time I brought it up, but do subscribe if you're new. It would really mean a lot to me if you did. Do leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Turn on those notifications if you're already subscribed so you don't miss a thing. Follow my Instagram at Star Wars Red Wing. Thanks for watching. May the Force be with you, and I'll see y'all later.